Hello everyone, Gamer Ninja here, and I'm back with a slightly shorter battle, but no less fun. This is probably the team that I probably will have the most success with right now. It's a team that I'm pretty comfortable with, and all in all, it was a pretty interesting battle. There were a couple of interesting things that happened, but all in all, pretty straightforward, but it's at least something, right? In any case, let's just get started here. We'll set that to normal. Alright, so, uh, hold on 1 second here. Let's restart that. So, looking at the team preview here, I see his Landorus, and I'm pretty confident he wants to open up with it, but I don't feel like using Manectric as an opening because if some Landoruses like to run max speed and are scarfed, in which case they will outspeed my Manectric before it megas, and then I just cry because I just lost my Mega for no good reason. Open up with Landorus. My Landorus creates a speed tie situation, and while that is an option, he could have also opened up with Rotom, and if he opened up with Rotom, I guess I could have just U-turned out, but it's still, I'm not comfortable with that. So I just chose to open up with Gengar. Uh, Gengar is a very solid lead, and this is a sub 3 attacks. It's slightly different than my other, more trolly set, but it's still a lot of fun. Threats on his end, I'm mainly looking at that Keldeo. Everything else is pretty slow, but Keldeo's the one thing that is the big threat on my team, against my team, so I basically need to keep Latias alive until that thing is either A, worn down enough that Gengar could come in and kill it, or B, it just flat out dies to hazards, or so that Ferrothorn stays alive long enough to kill it. Other threats, I don't know what his Clefable wants to do. I'm going to, looking at his team, I'll assume it's more of a clerical set, although I could be wrong. And as for other things, I'm not really concerned about Rotom. Metagross will just die to Gengar flat out. Hydreigon can be a threat, but it's usually too slow, and if his Landorus is scarfed like I suspect, he's probably not going to have that scarfed, in which case Latias can kill it pretty simply. Even Landorus can do a lot of damage to it with U-turn. So all in all, I think this shouldn't be too hard. So without any further ado, let's get started. So he opens up with Landorus, and I open up with Gengar. And this is kind of an important turn, because if I stay in here, I would have just lost my Gengar flat out. Because he reveals here that he is scarfed, and I don't feel like losing my Scarf, so I went out to my Landorus to reduce the damage with Intimidate. He goes out to Rotom, I just say fuck it, knock off whatever comes in. Get the leftovers knocked off, that helps out a lot. So I go for U-turn, and I notice that he took a lot of damage from that. I mean, Rotoms can be pretty physically bulky. So I know it's not it's a specially defensive set. Ferrothorn comes in, eats a Will-O-Wisp. I'm not too upset about this, although I am kind of sad. I could have gone on a T-turn and got a Flash Fire boost, but who cares? Important thing to note, Clefable didn't take Leech Seed damage. That means that it's a Magic Guard and not Unaware. Not that the Unaware really matters, I don't have any real setup sweepers, but that's still good information to know. Here I went for Power Whip. If he wanted to switch out into Rotom, there was an opportunity so that Rotom would have gotten some health back. So I chose to just stay in and Power Whip, if only to keep the, threaten the KO, basically. But since he's staying in, and he fires off another Wish, I just go out into Gengar. And here I have no problems just firing off a firing off a Substitute. Substitute gives me a lot of momentum. It means that this thing has to spend a turn damaging me, and he should have just gone for knockoff here. He probably thought that would break the sub, but I believe I quad resist Bug, so that was pretty risky. Now here, that steel nerf that happened earlier, big problems, because while I do no damage with the Sludge Wave, boom, that's a dead Metagross. Boom, just clean one shot, no big deal. No big deal, Gengar's a boss, and I'm still behind a sub. And that is absolutely brutal. He goes out into Landorus. If he had Bullet Punch earlier, that might have been changed the game completely. But he goes for knockoff. I'm not too upset about this. I just go for Sludge Wave and do a fair amount of damage. I forgot that Sludge Wave wouldn't do super effective damage, honestly. But it doesn't matter in the long run. So I just switch out. go out into my Landorus. Again, same reasoning as before. I'll take less damage thanks to Intimidate. And because I don't have an item now, it'll do even less damage. So, the Rotom coming in is pretty obvious. I could have just U-turned out, and it probably would have been a better play, but I just decided to stay in and use Stone Edge for whatever reason. U-turning out would have definitely been the better play. I would have had a free Mega Evolution into Mega Manectric. I could have just gone for Thunderbolt and just won from there. But, in theory, he could have gone out into Landorus, now that I think about it, but who cares? Because I use U-turn out, I need to send out a Pokemon first, so he gets to see what I am. I go out into Latias, and I know for a fact that he's Scarf still, so I go back out into Landorus. It's a completely predictable play, but I couldn't risk eating a U-turn there. I want to keep Latias pretty healthy. I eat the U-turn, take next to nothing, so who cares? Now, here, I believe he sends out his Keldeo, and I don't want this thing to get any free setup, so I just went for the knockoff here, and just basically sacked my Landorus. But, since Keldeo is a problem, I send out my big Keldeo counter, and that is Latias. There is not a damn thing Keldeo can do. And I know this, and I know that the Side Shock's ridiculously obvious. So I go out for a Draco Meteor, and boom! Another one-shot. No problem. Hydreigon, not a threat. And that basically seals any and all potential threats on his team. Latias can basically clean up from here if I could just get around this fucking Landorus. So here, I choose to go out into my Ferrothorn to try to get a little bit of chip damage in. His knockoff is pretty obvious. I'm not too upset about losing my leftovers. Ferrothorn's basically here to die, is all that he's here for. So Ferrothorn, some after-turn effects. If he switches out, I went for Leechy just in case he wanted to stay in and just finish me off, but I figured he probably wouldn't. Power Up was definitely the better option. If he went out into Keldeo, that's fine. I would have done a fair chunk of damage, and I probably could have just died there, but Clefable was a pretty blatantly obvious thing. Goes for Heal Bell, not entirely sure why. I mean, Clefable being paralyzed is annoying, but I probably would have fired off a Wish in his position. I'm going to be slower than most of the entire enemy team anyway, but I guess it worked out in his case, so who cares? I'm just doing as much damage as I can before I die. Nothing really too complicated here. Awkward silence. Oh, that's right. Here I go out into Gengar, and I'm pretty sure he's going to want to switch out into his Landorus. That's the Pokemon. And I'm just going to fire off a Shadow Ball, because it doesn't matter what he sends in. It's going to do a lot of damage to it. And that is a Landorus dead. And you know what this means? This means that there is nothing stopping my Latias from basically destroying the rest of his team. So, MVP, I'd probably give it to Gengar, actually, because if you think about it, Gengar completely wrecks so many Pokemon on their own. Latias is a very close second. But Gengar set up Latias for complete and utter victory. Sub 3 attacks Gengar, highly recommend it. It is a ridiculous set, and if you use it properly, there is no reason why you can't win. He seems to realize here that he is basically done. Latias' Side Shocks will break Clefable pretty easily. It looks like he was a specially defensive set, so it doesn't even matter. So, 2 more turns, and it would have been over. So, that's me with a 3-0. Mega Manectric didn't come out, and neither did Heatran, but hey, they were still there. So even if something weird happened, like Clefable was holding Bright Powder or some bullshit, I still had the game pretty much in the bag thanks to Manectric. Hell, even my specially defensive Heatran might have been able to take a single shot from Keldeo and then fired back a Hidden Power Grass. So, all in all, good game. Callahan 600. All in all, I had a bit of fun with that one, actually. It was really quite a fun battle. In any case, guys, I hope you're having a great night. I'm the Gamer Ninja, and I am out of here.